Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is La Liga draft wrap up round 9. We are getting through it. We are back in studio. Round 8, we were on location in Minneapolis. We are back in the great city of Milwaukee. I've got a special guest coming from us from the Chicagoland area. We've got William Zaddy Reynolds. Will, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Nice to
Doing
see
good.
you.
I like that. Thanks for getting dressed up for me, all
Oh
wet and
yeah, yeah. You got
didn't
the
even
gotta get
get,
the gotta get
yeah.
the camo. I forgot my tie today, but we got the
Yeah,
camo
yeah,
out.
yeah.
We are here as always. I'm your commish. La Liga, we've got Will GM coming out of the East Division. Will, this has been a common talking point in La Liga. We've got another daddy here, newest dad of the squad. How are you doing with little Meredith at home?
It's been a learning experience. We're getting there, right? But all good, all good.
Yeah, you
All the
you
all the all the frustrations are made up for by when they open their eyes and look at you and make that smile or those goofy noises. That's just
yeah.
awesome, man.
Is she smiling in her sleep right now?
She does. And I'm like, what are you thinking about right now?
Dreaming about milk, dreaming
Yeah.
about pooping, and dreaming about sleeping.
Yeah. Just thinking
Um,
about waking up when I'm trying to nap. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
you said you're getting it all figured out, just like you're getting your squad figured out here.
Yep.
We're almost done with the full first draft of our 10 picks. How are you feeling about your picks so far? How are you feeling about the squad?
I'm feeling pretty good. I had a couple picks that I don't know, say second guessing, but I kind of wish I would have maybe went a different route. The last couple rounds is starting to get tough, trying to fill in some holes that maybe I had from picking a tight end early and a quarterback early. So trying to
Mhm.
stack up some more wide receivers and running backs that weren't maybe my first choices, but I'm happy with them if they pan out. I think they
Okay.
got good floors and hopefully
Looking
they
looking
get
for
up.
some value in the wide receiver and running back positions, trying to add some depth at the end of
Mm,
these rounds. Can be tough. At this point, there's always flaws, right? It's just about what are the flaws? How do those guys connect in with your team? Just like you said, you're looking for holes, you're looking for ways to bolster that team. And we're going to be talking about some of your guys today in the wrap up. We are looking at round 9 today. We're gonna start it off with a little sponsored segment. Our first segment is brought to you by HBO Max. HBO Max's The Pit. The Pit starring Noah Weil. Follow Weil and his emergency department staff as they attempt to overcome the hardships of a single 15-hour work shift at a fictional Pittsburgh Trauma Medical Hospital. The Pit. Have you seen The Pit? It's a great show. There's a lot of chatter in the West Division to chat about The Pit. Are you a medical drama watcher, William?
I think we did the Grey's Anatomy train a while ago, and I'm kind of over it. Kristen's been watching it with Meredith at night while she's up on her shift.
Okay, so
So
Chris,
I don't know,
we're gonna have to have Kristen on to give us a review of The Pit.
feedback.
Would
I don't know. I'm
you?
a little worried. My 2 week old is watching people with bullet wounds going to the
Oh
ER and
man.
stuff like that. But
Well, maybe she ends up being a surgeon, a trauma
yeah,
surgeon. Who
it's
knows?
possible.
Yeah.
I'm more a Sopranos guy. Give
Okay,
me that.
HBO.
Wait, so is it the pit after the pit is the ER or is it in Pittsburgh? So it's pit.
They call it The Pit. I believe it's because it's in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's confusing.
All right. Well, we're talking about HBO Max's The Pit. Their pick of the round is Kyle Pitts coming at us at 9-10. Uncle Jerry takes him at 9-10. He's looking for a tight end, a starting tight end for his squad. Now, we're looking at most of the tier one, tier two tight ends have already been picked. He's looking for some value. He goes with Kyle Pitts. Now, you know me, I am a numbers guy, and I'm going to throw some numbers at you before we talk what your grade is for this pick. We're talking the first 4 years of Kyle Pitts' career. Obviously, a huge name coming up out of college. He had huge expectations coming into the Falcons, and unfortunately, he has not lived up to those. I'm looking at points per week on average for through his first 4 years. 2021, he is tight end 12. Pretty good, not up to expectations that first year, but unfortunately, it's only getting worse. 2022, he becomes tight end 20. 2023, he's tight end 17. And 2024, last year, he is tight end 21. That's not getting it done in a 10-team league. That means he's not really a starting tight end. What do you think about that pick? And do you think he turns it around with Michael Penix here at quarterback for the Falcons?
I don't know. I mean, if he couldn't do it with Kirk Cousins, I don't know what he's going to do it with. Um, I, I have a problem in fantasy football of holding grudges against players that have screwed me in the past, and I think I took him pretty high after his first rookie season where he had what like 1,200 yards.
Hmm.
So he's like on a never ever list for me because of that. Um,
And that is the
so
beauty of fantasy football. If you're not holding grudges, what are you doing in fantasy
yeah,
football?
yeah,
That might be a grudge that you are smart to hold because he has not really shown at his ADP
yeah.
for the last couple of years. But, you know, new quarterback coming in. He's got some other weapons there. Drake London taking the next step. Mooney becoming a solid second option at wide receiver. Maybe they start figuring it out. But for right now, Kyle Pitts is the Pitts pick of the round in round 10. Um,
Yeah.
Now take a look. We talked about how those one tight ends were off the board pretty quickly. You had said you're trying to build depth after picking Trey McBride in the third round. What did you see in Trey McBride? And how do you think he contributes to your team?
Yeah, I was looking for a young wide receiver, another wide receiver with that pick to go with Chase and Ladd, but there just wasn't really anyone left that I was really thrilled about.
Hmm.
So maybe a little bit of reach to go McBride there, but I think it was the value is worth it with his contract.
Yeah.
The next 3 years locked in, he's gonna get yards, he's gonna score. I was waffling between him and Marvin Harrison,
Hmm. Yeah. So
which I think
Marvin.
you picked after me,
Yeah,
and I'm a
Marvin
never know.
selected. Yeah, Marvin selected the next pick by the commish. Now I talked to Tommy Lasers about this in the round three wrap up. I really love the Trey McBride pick at that spot. I think I would have taken him the next spot over. We're taking a look at his tight touchdown totals from last year, his rookie year. He has zero touchdowns going into week 17. He gets that monkey off his back. He gets a touchdown week 17. He gets a touchdown week 18, but he still dominates the tight end landscape as a rookie last year, even without any touchdowns. Do you think that that is something in his game, or do you think that that is just an anomaly and then he's gonna regress, or he's actually gonna move up into kind of that average and just have a dominant year this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to go, right?
Yeah.
It's like way below the average for a tight end. He should get up there. We'll
Yeah.
see. It'll be interesting to see him or Harrison who kind of gobbled up those touchdowns and yards up there because I think they're both one or two of them are gonna have a really good year.
You know what? I don't see any reason why Trey McBride shouldn't get back to a more average, more sensible touchdowns in there. I don't think there's any reason not for him to not be targeted in the red zone. Kyler Murray was up and down last season, but I think in terms of that, I see Trey McBride having a huge year this year, and if I was going to predict a tight end one, I might go Trey McBride this year. That's my hot take for round 9 here. Um,
Thanks for fluffing me up a little bit.
oh yeah. We're gonna move on to our next segment. This segment brought to you by Love's Gas Station. Love's Gas Station, great for truckers, great for families. I love Loves. I was just taking a drive last weekend. Didn't see a Loves on our trip, but the last trip we took, stopped at a Loves. We had our dogs. They had a small dog park at the Loves gas station. You ever seen one of those? Phoebe would love it.
I think
Phoebe,
I've been to Love's once. The one thing I know about them, less glory holes than most gas stations, just a
oh,
little classier.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, a little bit
the
cleaner.
family establishment.
Some of us might say, well, skip Loves if there's no glory holes. For me, I think a cleanly bathroom is more important. But I like both directions on that. But
Yeah, yeah.
next time you're taking a trip with Phoebe, I think she's making an appearance in the background. Can you show us a little Phoebe love? There we go. Next time you and Phoebe are taking a trip, she needs a little break. Stop at Loves. They may just have a little doggy park for her. We've got Love's gas station loved pick of the round, round nine. Who do you think it's going to be? Of course, you know it's going to be Jordan Love. Jordan Love is Love's loved love of the round. Don't make me say that again. Michael Wolf picks Jordan Love as his backup QB to Jalen Hurts in round nine. And, well, what I have to ask you is you look at Jordan Love, he's a fantastic pocket passer. He's not much of a scrambler, almost has no yards, but he can get it done with that powerful offense. I'm going to have him compared to your pick for quarterback, Justin Herbert. Similar deal. Justin, a little bit of injury last year. His rushing numbers went down for last year, but he comes back healthy. He might not be rushing that much. What do you see in Herbert? Do you think his lack of rushing numbers or Love's lack of rushing numbers limit his ceiling as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. I think the similarities between the two of them is their floor is pretty high. I think Herbert definitely higher than Love because he's had some pretty terrible games in the past. I
Yep.
think with Herbert, it's like you got an opportunity for the next maybe even 10 years to
Yeah.
have a top 10 QB, and he's not going to regress because he's not a mobile quarterback that's going to grow into just being a pocket passer. So
Mhm.
I think it was a German. I think Love is similar to that. It'd be interesting. Last year they ran the ball a lot more, so and less passing. But neither of them make a ton of mistakes typically, so you're not getting the negative points. So I
Yeah.
think good floor if you got stacked up wide receivers and running backs that are more risk, it gives you I don't say guaranteed points, but pretty consistent scoring every week, I suppose.
I could go out there and say Herbert's going to give you some guaranteed points. I mean, I was talking to Kenny Deal Steinhauser on his wrap up, and he threw Herbert out there as a little bit of a conservative pick, but then a lot of times with a QB1 in that zone in that tier two zone, that's not a bad thing. You don't want your quarterback to lose you your week. So I think in terms of Justin Herbert, he gets a few more tools in his toolbox this year. They draft Marion Hampton, and they draft Trey Harris at wide receiver. So Ladd's got another young guy to look at, and that just gives more tools for Herbert. I don't think that increased rushing game for Herbert, I don't think that actually hurts him. I think just having a more powerful offense as a whole is probably a good thing for him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. I always kind of focus more on teams that have good offenses.
Hmm.
Like the one thing to take, sometimes there's a player that's just like the best player in the league, but he's on a crappy team like the Jets or something like that, right? And it's like,
Be like a CMC back when he played for the Panthers or something like that.
yeah, like I don't value those players as much personally. I like to see like the whole team succeeding because I think it's like, I don't know. To me, it seems like it should help overall everyone on the offense if the team's doing well on offense. So
Yeah, so I mean, you can look at some of those implied point totals. You can look at some of those implied wins per year early in in some of these gambling circles and things like that, and you can get a pretty good idea of what Vegas is thinking these teams are going to produce this year, and you can kind of use that to your advantage when you're looking at a quarterback and saying, a lot of these guys in the wrap-ups have been saying you got to score touchdowns to win weeks in this league, and if you got a quarterback that can score some touchdowns and he's got some skill players, like that's going to be someone that you want on your team.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about backup quarterbacks, Jordan Love. What are you looking for? You've only selected one quarterback so far. What do you look for in a backup quarterback, especially if you're looking at you already have Justin Herbert? Anything in particular that you're going to be willing to give me on the wrap up?
I don't know. Let's see. I would probably say there's two trains of thought here. It's either got to be, a low risk, not sexy quarterback that's going to get you enough points to get you through a couple weeks of injury,
Yep.
or I'm going full high risk, high reward, rookie, unproven. Maybe in a couple of years they'll be worth it, and you just put up with it for them being your backup for a year or two, if you don't get the points on the week. So I'm going one of those two routes. So
Yeah. So
I'll
no
tell you for
veteran. You're
sure.
not necessarily looking for the veteran. You're looking for someone who's going to put up dependable points, but be around for the bye weeks and the injury risk. Or you're looking youth. And at the end of the day, what else can you do but otherwise just see what else is there? Now we look at someone who's got some youth and he's dropped considerably. Caleb Williams still out there in the draft right now. So we'll see how far he falls. We'll see if someone who's got one quarterback sees that fall and then finally sees some value in Caleb Williams. But you know, it's hard throwing in Chicago, when it gets cold out. So
Yeah.
what can you
Can't
do?
draft no Ohio State players, no Bears players,
All right.
unless I'm getting
This
desperate if I'm making those picks. So
I feel like I'm back in Minneapolis talking to Michael Wolf. He's talking about ethical football, no drafting of the Bears. Okay.
yeah, there you go.
Um, well, Will, thanks so much for giving us a little bit of insight into your draft. I've been drafting right next to you. I love pretty much all your picks. We've been kind of battling back and forth, sniping some of the guys that both of us like. So I really like your mix of youth and proven talent. And I'm excited to see what you do in the East Division this year.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it pans out. Trying to almost like threading a little bit of a needle, not going full rookies or veterans. Like I look at Tom's team, he's got his running backs are like all over 30 right now. So
Yeah, Tom decided to get
no.
the young wide receivers and then hit the old folks home to get his running back core. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I talked to him and he said, any running back only has 2 to 4 years in him anyways. So I think he's thinking,
it's not a bad point.
why get a rookie? Why get an unproven rookie if he might be washed after a couple of years out of the league? He's trying to get those proven running backs and those long-term wide receivers. Not going to knock that. We'll just have to see how it goes for him.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting.
Awesome analysis with you, Will. I've got one more thing with you for you today. We've got a video for you to react to. We talked about your new position outside of just being a GM. Now you are a new daddy.
Oh boy, where's this going?
I am gonna share my screen with you. We're gonna take a look at a video and maybe you can clear some things up for us. Let's take a listen to our boy, Pedro Pascal.
How does it feel to be the internet's daddy? Everyone says zaddy, and I still don't know
There you
what it
go.
is. I get very different definitions of zaddy. I know that people get triggered by all the daddy stuff, which is also understandable. Enough already. I'm your dad.
Pedro Pascal says, I am your daddy. I am your zaddy. Will Zaddy Reynolds, can you tell us once and for all, what is a zaddy? What makes you the zaddy of the league?
Quite frankly, I don't know exactly what the definition of daddy is. I'm just assuming it's a saucier version of a daddy, maybe with a mustache and some short
Okay.
shorts or something like
I
that.
like that.
I'm
Oh,
a little scared to look it up now at this point. Actually, my brother CJ was the one that started calling me that, and that's one of
okay.
his favorite words. So if it's inappropriate, I'm blaming him for it.
Okay, so we might be shutting down the wrap up today. We're gonna get back online, go to incognito mode, and zaddies near us. Um, so I really like the idea of that. get me all excited. Maybe hymns, maybe you get a hymn sponsorship,
There you go.
do a little bit of
Craigslist,
Zaddy.
sponsored by Craigslist.
Yeah, Zaddy and hymns. I think we got something going there. But self-proclaimed. That was going to be the next question, but now I know it was CJ Reynolds that comes in and starts calling you Zaddy. So
Yeah,
that man, if I trust anyone to call, to call a Zaddy when he sees one, it's going to be CJ. So you are certainly the Zaddy of the league, and you will be that until someone takes that mantle from you.
there you go. I like that.
All right. Well, Will, best of luck for the rest of the draft. We'll see what all these picks, how do they come to fruition at this 2025 season. Best of luck. Any final words to the team, to the fans out there before we wrap this wrap up?
Keep up the picks. I don't, how many more we got left? 10?
We've got 10 more rounds to go.
Keep them going. Keep them moving.
Keep them
You're not
going.
smart enough to find the deep, deep, deep sleeper. Just pick someone, please.
Just, just pick someone and hope for the best. Well, Will, it's been a pleasure. We'll be looking for the round 10 wrap up. That's a special one we've got coming up with the vice commiss, Joe Harris. And we'll be looking at round 10 and we'll be talking about what's in the future for some of this media that you guys can follow and keep track of the La Liga draft and 2025 season. As always, Will, it's been a pleasure. And don't forget to kiss the commish. Have a great.
You're always trying to kiss me here, let me tell you.
All right. Well, one of these days it'll work out.